Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, definitely subscribe down below. My name is Sienna and welcome. Today I'm gonna be doing a book recommendation video, but for my readers out there, those of you that like to read, want to get into reading, these are just some books that I want to recommend to you guys, let you know that they're good. There was one that I was like, it's okay, but for the most part I like most of these. But let's get into the first book. Okay, so first book is actually a part of a series. That series is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Really like the series. It gives you crime, murder mystery, podcast kind of feel. So I feel like those of you, because I know that these are a real thing. I don't listen to them, but I know that true crime podcasts are a thing. If any of you guys are interested in that, you guys will be interested in this series. Like, I would be so surprised if you're not. I did read the second part. To not give too much away, the main character, Pip, she graduated high school since the first book, and she doesn't do any more of her detective work anymore. She was never really professional to begin with. She just kind of took it on as like a school project, and it ended up becoming a lot more than that. But it is until someone by the name Jamie Reynolds randomly disappears the same night, a memorial for two characters from the last book. So it's really interesting. They try and figure out why he's gone. This book, I definitely would have rated like probably a 5 out of 5. The next part to this series, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and the last part to it as well is As Good as Dead. This one is a little more crazy. I don't remember much about this one entirely, but this one is where actually Pip gets threatened based on how her last investigation ended, that kind of thing. So she kind of has a stalker, possible serial killer that is on her case, and that is really just watching her every move. I'm trying to remember a little bit more of it, but Pip is a risky girl for this because this one was crazy. This one I definitely rate a 6 out of 5 because it was a little more intense, I feel like. Next book I actually don't have because it's not mine. It's actually my sister's, and her friend is actually reading it right now. That book is also part of a series, and that series is the Inheritance Game series. But the last part to it was The Final Gambit. I'd rate it a 5 out of 5, but I don't like the ending as much as I'd like to admit. But anyway, The Final Gambit is the end of the series. Basically just kind of the last hurrah, the last mystery, because the whole Inheritance series is all about solving mysteries, solving riddles, solving puzzles. 5 all around for the most part. Just the ending, I wish things played out a little bit differently. But our next book is a self-help book. I feel like other than mystery books, I have been reading self-help books. The thing with me in self-help books though is a lot of the time they just drag on for me. I can only read so much at a time. I feel like that's the thing about me as of lately, is I've really been challenging myself with the books that I have been reading because they're not really normally books that I would read. Self-help book that I finished, that was Atomic Habits. It was a good book, don't get me wrong. It just was really slow. Like, I'm someone that I feel like I would rather prefer listening to like a podcast, like a self-help podcast, rather than reading a self-help book. I will say one self-help type of book, an inspirational type of book that I really liked was the one by Tabitha Brown, Feeding the Soul. I'm pretty sure is what it was called. Now that self-help book was a good self-help book. I really liked it because you could actually hear her voice. Like, she put her personality into that book is what I'm trying to say. So it doesn't make it boring to read. But Atomic Habits, I'd probably rate a 3 out of 5 just because it did take me so long to read. Next book I have actually read before, but I decided to reread it. And it's actually not as good as I remember. And maybe it's just also because there's been a little bit of controversy with this author, hence why I will not be buying any more of her books. When I first ever read this, I would rate it a 5 out of 5. Now that I read it for the second time, I'd probably rate it a 4 out of 5. But this is a romance book, the only romance book I have read recently. It is one of my favorite books that this author has wrote till this day. I've read, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different books from her, and that's how many it will stay. But I don't know if any of you have heard the controversy about her. If not, go ahead and look it up. But basically, this book is about 2 characters, the girl being Tate, the guy being Miles. Basically, they just develop this mutual physical attraction. Not like they're dating or anything. They're Miles, someone who has a very hard and ugly past, and it's ugly love. He promises her that they can have this mutual physical attraction, and he does not want Tate asking about the past or expecting a future. So that is ugly love for you. And our next and last book for today, but this is another series. This is another series. I think there might be a 3rd part to this series. I'm not really sure, but for right now, this is just the sequel to One of Us is Lying. This one. I finished this one actually a few months ago, like at the end of last year. So that one was probably also included in my last book recommendation. But this is One of Us is Next, the sequel to it. And basically we have 3 new main characters. One of the main characters in this one being the sister of the last one. Kind of how they created the sequel to follow along with the sister of the last one, and they do tie in the 4 main characters from the last one and this one. Ever since the people in the last one have like graduated and whatnot, there hasn't really been any gossip apps, because that's how the last one started, because someone from their school started a gossip app that leaked secrets about people in the school. Well, until there is a new app called Truth or Dare, where basically a student has to either do a dare that they're presented with in order for one of their truths, which is also a big secret, to not come out. And the 3 main characters, Phoebe, Maeve, or Maeve, I don't know. I called her Maeve, but Phoebe, Maeve, and Knox all work together to kind of, I don't know, just kind of not really figure out what happened and who started this, but let's just say one of the students ended up dying because of one of the dares. And Phoebe, she was the first target, and she chose not to play, so one of her secrets came out. Same with Maeve, she did not choose the dare, so one of her secrets came out. Anyway, don't mind her. But that's kind of what they all have in common. But yeah, it was very interesting because it was kind of like a remake of the last one in a way, but it was still very, very different, and it still was giving very much a sequel. But this one I'd rate a 5 out of 5. But those are all the book recommendations I have for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe one of them piqued your interest. If you did, give this video a like. Also subscribe down below and comment down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.